Hey guys, for today's video I'm going to get some laundry hung out and do my So You Like. For those of you who are new to my channel, So You Like is my monthly, or meant to be, recommendation series where I take a piece of media that I've enjoyed, spin out what is liked about it, what's good about it, what you might have enjoyed, and suggest some things that you might like if you liked it. This month is, well, it's the first one back in a while for a start, but I am doing something a little different. The Harry Potter stuff is getting more and more of a thing, and honestly, let's find some alternatives. So this isn't so much a So You Like as a So You Liked. And we'll just have a look at some things that are engaging with it in some way, shape or form without giving the turfy lady some money, and who some stuff that might be good alternatives. These are probably not going to be groundbreaking, but if you've not heard of them, might be some good options for you here. The first thing I'm going to recommend to you based on Harry Potter as being a topic is Percy Jackson, because Percy Jackson is a much better series in a lot of ways that tackles similar issues. It doesn't quite mess around with trying to keep the status quo but do things differently. It's trying to break the status quo in a lot of ways. Doesn't always succeed, but it engages with the ideas more than Harry Potter does in a lot of ways. There's just a lot of stuff that kind of touches on it. It does a lot of stuff, and yeah, Harry Potter does not really challenge the status quo that he's set in. He says he does in a lot of ways. It's definitely a thing, but in a lot of ways Percy just does it better. Basically, they interact with a lot of the same demographics, and that works. And everything with Percy Jackson just gets more and more diverse as it goes on. It's great. The next thing I want to recommend to you based on an attempt to get away from Harry Potter is the Discworld series. Especially the Tiffany Aching and the Unseen University stuff. So these take on two separate things that are very related to Harry Potter based things. So the Tiffany Aching books are definitely the same demographic again, and they are also largely based around sort of learning magic, and Tiffany is in a lot of ways similar to the same archetypes that Hermione hits, so it is a very good way of having that same sort of character. Then if you also want to look at the Unseen University side of things, that also very heavily works alongside the magical school side of things. And again, Terry Pratchett was just amazing at doing representation based stuff. The dwarves in particular are very much gender and everything else allegory. Gender and sexuality are very interestingly discussed, so definitely check that out. That's mainly in the City Watch series. The next thing I want to recommend to you, based on Harry Potter and a desire to get away from it specifically, is Misfits and Magic. Now this is a series by Dimension 20. This is Abria Iyengar's first time GMing in the Dimension 20 Dome, and it is a full-on deconstruction of Harry Potter in its tropes. It's just going full on, and in some of the stuff they explicitly say fuck TERFs. This was first put out when there was just a big amount of discourse about the Harry Potter side of things, and it was getting exhausting, but they did a whole thing and they are examining the way that it works. It's not perfect, I will not claim that, but it does a lot to work on these things, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do another season of it at some point soon. There's 2 out. The first one is very short in terms of Dimension 20 series, it's still several hours long, but the second one is very much a much longer beast, so but you kind of need to have done one to do the other. So keep going and we'll see what they go with in the future. It's very interesting to sort of examine Harry Potter and its world based on this, which is very pastiche in a lot of ways. So it's a very interesting way to look at it. The last thing that I want to recommend to you based on Harry Potter in this way is Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. Now, this is a very... I've mentioned them in a different one of these before, but the idea is this is a podcast involving looking at Harry Potter through a sacred lens, because it was an important book to a lot of people. When J.K. Rowling started being incredibly turfy and weird, they made a point of polling their audience and going, especially trans people in their audience, and going, hey, do you want us to continue? And people said yes. It's only gotten worse on that front since, and people haven't always been the most generous about the way they've done it, but they have done a very good job of exploring where the series falls down from a pedagogical situation, from a just opportunities for love and dealing with things. I believe, I'm very far behind, but I believe that they may have actually finished the podcast by now. They did 2 goes through before they stopped, because they were keeping going with it, and it was incredibly difficult for them to do, I believe, from what I remember. But they did, they're reading it in the same way that people read the Bible. It's trying to explore things and see what you can bring out meaning-wise for yourself. And I think that was a very challenging thing for them to do in the set of circumstances that they were doing it, because, you know, things couldn't have been predicted to get as bad as they were, or they are, technically. But it's a very worthwhile thing if you've still got a love for the series, but definitely don't want to be engaging with her specifically about it. They do, they were like, oh, we would love to have her on at the very start, and definitely by the time they finished their first go through, they went, they would not have wanted that by that point. They were like, no, we're engaging with these problematic books and finding ways to still love the story in spite of its many flaws. And it's an interesting one to do, and I think that it was a very admirable thing to do, and it explored different things. They were trying to do exploring a fiction text like the way that people do for the Bible and for other sacred texts, and they engaged with it in a very interesting way. So those are my recommendations for things that you want to maybe use to get away from Harry Potter in some way, shape or form. There's some that are just, here's a better series, and there's some that are like, we're engaging with the ways that this one is not great in various ways. So it works. It works pretty well. Let me know in the comments down below what your preferred ways of getting away from She Who Must Not Be Named would be. I feel like there's definitely more out there, and some of them I probably know about and some of them I don't. So tell me in the comments down below if there's anything that you think I need to know about. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you'll remember to like and share it and subscribe to my channel. Click on the thumbnails over there to see other videos by me, click on the link in the description down below to join my Discord, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next day of VEDA. Bye!